Shout out to G-Man Boxing. Where's the piss bottle? It's over there.
Alright, people, worst kept secret in boxing announced today. So, Chris Eubank Jr. will now officially rematch Liam Smith. Sky Sports box office, of course. It was on pay-per-view, the first fight. The second fight, it's going to be on pay-per-view as well. It's going to happen on the 17th of June. So, big fights just keep coming and coming and coming. You know, you Canelo next month. Only missing some other fights that are happening in May, but you've Canelo, and obviously going into June. This is a good fight. It's a very good fight. You never know. We might get a Fury announcement soon for July. You might get a new second announcement for June or August. Who knows? So, a lot of fights coming. Liam Smith versus Chris Eubank Jr. at middleweight. Now, it says middleweight right here. It's not specifying. Certainly, I haven't seen anything specify if it's going to be at the full 160 or if it's going to be maybe at a 161, 162. I'd imagine it's going to be at the full 160. I mean, Liam Smith is the guy who won the first fight, lest we forget, you know. He's the guy coming up. He came up from 154, so he has all the the ball's in his court in a sense of how it goes. He's the A side going into this. He won the first fight. So quotes from Chris Eubank Jr. I'd never been dropped, so it was a new experience. I enjoyed it. I doubt very much you enjoyed it, mate. It was something new. I regret not being given the chance to get through it. I feel like I was robbed of the challenge, in my opinion. He didn't stop me. The referee stopped you. No, pretty much, given the fact that actually Roy Jones Jr., it's ironic, you know, he stated, he chastised Kell Brook very badly, saying, you know, when the towel came in against Triple G, that his team don't own towels. And it's ironic that Roy Jones was actually coming with the towel to throw it in. So, yeah, referee was always going to stop it, if not Roy Jones was going to stop it himself. So, Eubank Jr., you know, obviously he's not going to come out and say, you know, obviously, you know, I was out on my feet and the referee made the right decision. He's obviously trying to maintain in his mind that the perception that, you know, oh, he was hard done by and that, you know, it was a good shot, but he could have recovered. I doubt very much he could have. He also said, if you do it again, then you're the better man. But right now, I still believe I'm the better fighter. I don't think that's unfair to say when you've dominated the first 3 rounds, which I believe I did. You didn't touch me until round 4. Now, it's interesting because the first round, you know, personally I felt that Eubank was a little bit more in control, personally for me. Although Liam Smith was definitely doing some good work, he certainly wasn't getting outclassed or taking a beating in any of the rounds. You could say, though, the third round, that was the round where Eubank really started to find his form and find his range. You know, he was landing the uppercut. He seemed to really, in that round, get into his groove, find his range, which is strange, the fact that the very next round, it was all over, and Eubank was out. So, Eubank definitely has the potential to beat Liam Smith. You know, I picked Eubank Jr. going into the fight because I felt that Liam Smith stylistically complemented Eubank Jr. And you could see in certain ways in the first fight how Liam Smith did complement Eubank Jr. and his style. You know, he has the high guard. You know, he squares up the shoulders. He's easy for Eubank to let the uppercut off against, right? However, in terms of pressure fighters, you know, Nick Blackwell, Spike O'Sullivan, Avni Yildirim, to name a few, Arthur Abraham, you know, certainly that version of Arthur Abraham that fought Eubank Jr., they were not the pressure fighter in terms of skill in every aspect that Liam Smith is. You know, Liam Smith was able to spot the mistakes Eubank Jr. was making. And yeah, he was getting caught with some shots, but he was able to take them no bother. And when he was able to land his own shots, Eubank, I mean, you know, from a technical point of view, there's still a lot to work on with Eubank Jr. And I don't know if the way Eubank Jr. has been speaking, kind of saying, you know, first he was saying it was the forearm. Do you remember that? It was, or the elbow gate, or whatever they called it. So if he's making excuses, which he's done in the past, you know, against George Groves, he maintained straight after the fight that he felt he won the fight. So with Eubank, if he's making these excuses, and look, you would imagine fighters are going to do it, but if he genuinely believes that, he may go into this fight thinking, well, I don't need to change anything. No, you need to change a lot of things, because technical reasons is why you were caught. You know, you made mistakes. You need to counter these mistakes. You need to fix them. Right? If you don't, it's going to be repeat. I think that Eubank has all the potential to beat Liam Smith. He does. Liam Smith's a very, very good fighter, but I think Eubank has all the tools to beat him. Whether he can do it remains to be seen. Personally, for me, I feel as though that EUBANK Jr. is probably going to get taken out again. Probably not, maybe not in the fourth round, but in the first half of the fight certainly, because I don't feel he's going to make the technical adjustments in order to be able to win this fight. I don't, and I think that he's probably going to end up getting caught again. And if you think about it like this, when you have a fighter who's coming back from a big knockout loss like Chris EUBANK Jr. is, very seldom you would pick them to win. Examples where I have picked a fighter to win, come back from a big, worse knockout loss than this, was Povetkin versus Dillian Whyte. Because I just felt that Povetkin looked so bad in that first fight, up until he landed the shot. Dillian Whyte made one mistake and he got caught, but Povetkin looked terrible in that fight. And I thought, you know what, if Dillian Whyte can just not make those same mistakes again, which he made, he's going to beat Povetkin, because Povetkin hasn't got anything really left in the tank. He's got a punch, certainly has that, but if you just don't give him the opportunity to land that punch, you're going to win. You're going to win pretty comfy, and that's what Dillian Whyte did. But with this fight, it wasn't like, EUBANK was lighting Liam Smith up and he had him dropped and hurt and everything. It wasn't like that, It was an even Steven fight. Yeah, the third round was a clear round for EUBANK, but Liam Smith wasn't buzzed or out on his feet or dropped or anything like that. And the very, very next round, boom, lights out. So it's going to be interesting. One thing that I would say is in EUBANK's advantage, even if it is at a full 160, is the fact that I think people underestimate how much of an effect the Conor Benn weight cut had on Chris EUBANK Jr. You got to bear in mind, right? That fight was pulled, I think it was on a Wednesday. He still weighed in on that Saturday at 159 pounds. He looked terrible, mind you. So he probably had, let's just say a fortnight to get over that weight cut, and he's straight back into camp for another fight that's happened in January. So he's had very, very little time for his body to be able to recover from the weight cut, not even what happened in training camp in terms of sparring, but just the weight cut itself. To go and take that weight off again, it was a big ask for his body, and I think physically that took a lot out of EUBANK Jr. It did. It certainly would have had to. So with this, it's happening 6 months later. He's had a bit of time to go away, take a step back, take a break. Now he's going to get back into camp, so surely it's going to be an easier cut this time. Having said that, I can only go on what I saw in the first fight. You got to make Liam Smith a firm favourite going into this fight. You have to. Absolutely have to. So in Manchester, I'll definitely be doing a watch along. I probably won't go over to it because trying to get press credentials with Boxer, they're not exactly friendly, to say the least. So probably won't be going to it, but definitely be watching it. Definitely be keeping a keen eye on this fight. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you could. Hit subscribe, of course, if you haven't already, people. For now, I will talk to you.